It's 2018, and the debate still stands for a lot of NBA fans and NBA enthusiasts. Who is the GOAT? Who is the greatest player of all time? The vast majority, 95% of the people that I know of, they say Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. And I can see why that can be true. And for a long time, up till I'd say about 2 months ago, I also thought that Michael Jordan was the greatest player of all time. After doing a lot of research, and after watching a lot of video clips, highlights, and after a lot of reading, I may have to challenge that idea. In my opinion, you know, this man is not even in my era. There's just not a lot of good clips about him to watch. But out of all the books and articles and secondary sources and primary sources that I've read, and the statistics that I've seen, I think this man is the greatest player of all time. The greatest player to ever play basketball in professional NBA. The man is this guy, Wilt Chamberlain. Yo, this dude, okay, I was just like looking at his stats, and you know, stats are stats, it's numbers, you know, and a lot of the argument with people who played in the past, you know, people who played in the 60s, 70s, 80s, the argument always says, oh, you know, people of this era weren't athletic, you know, oh, Wilt Chamberlain, this guy, he just played with a bunch of scrawny white people, which makes sense. I mean, that's definitely an arguable fact, you know. People nowadays, athletes nowadays, especially in the NBA, they're a lot more athletic, a lot more faster, better shooters. They're just better NBA players overall, better basketball players overall. The league as a whole has definitely improved drastically compared to, you know, the early 2000s, 90s, 80s, 70s, so forth. But still, you know, I strongly believe that there are always anomalies in every era. There are players in every era that can play in any era. And those people include people like, you know, Magic Johnson, you know, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, Bill Russell. I mean, Shaq only played, you know, like a couple years back, but if you put him now, I'm pretty sure he can play very well. Same with players like Magic Johnson. Oh, he played in the 80s. Bro, if this guy played today, he would be fucking good too. So that argument, oh, the league, you know, they played against, you know, unathletic, slow white people. That it just doesn't make sense, because yeah, as a league, it was much worse in the past, but there are special players, there are anomaly players that will excel in any league and in any era. And I feel like this man, if you put him today, yo, he wouldn't make 100 points, but he'd be pretty fucking good. Another reason why I think Wilt Chamberlain may be the greatest player of all time is just look at the stats of this guy. You know, 100 points, even the 100 points game. People say, oh, no, it wasn't documented, there was no video recording. Okay, whatever. And he says, oh, but he made 100 points off of, you know, unathletic white dudes. Bro, the man scored 100 points. Doesn't matter who. Scoring 100 points in any type of setting is extremely difficult. It's something that no one has ever done. You know, Kobe had 81. Okay, can you score 100? Can you, the viewer, score 100 points off a bunch of fifth graders in a game? I highly doubt that. I highly doubt you could even make 50 points against fifth graders. If you played basketball on a 5-on-5 setting, full court, I highly doubt you could even put up 50, let alone 100. And this dude, you know, one season he averaged 50 points in one season. 50 points, and they're like, oh, but he played against a bunch of scrubs. Bro, he averaged 50 every single game. 82 games, every single game he will give you 50 points. And if that's not enough, he will give you 50 points and 25 rebounds every single game. Every game. That means literally the coaches were like, yo, okay, this dude, this Wilt Chamberlain guy, we can't do anything about him. Just give him his points, give him his boards. They basically gave up. I don't see that happening to any other player who has ever played in history. 50 points every single game, and he played every minute. He never took a break. You know, nowadays when players, they play, you know, star players like LeBron or Steph, you know, when these, you know, high caliber players play even 40 minutes, it's like, oh, dude, this man, he is a great athlete. You know, 40 minutes, that's pushing his, the time limit of how he can play, how much he can play. Yo, this dude played every minute, every game, 50 points, 25 rebounds. That's not his career average, that's just for one season. But every minute, he never took a rest. This guy was so good that the rules had to be changed. Think about that. Think about someone who was so dominant that the league was like, yo, this dude is just too good, bro. Like, we need to change the rules. We need to change the rules so the game is not easy for him. I don't see that happening in any sport. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I just can't imagine how someone could have been so dominant, so great at a sport that, you know, people around him were like, yo, you know, we can't do anything about it. Give him 50 points. Yo, we need to change the free throw rule because of him. Because, you know, Will Chamberlain was a terrible free throw shooter. It's said that in practices and when he was shooting alone or with not in an official game setting, he would actually make a lot of his free throws, maybe 8 out of 10. But in a game setting, his free throw was terrible, 50 to 60%. And a lot of people say it's because of like a psychological issue, like he was thinking too much. But because of that flaw in his free throws, he would basically dunk the ball from the free throw line as his free throw. And he did this every time, and he was making it every single time. He would jump from the free throw line and just dunk it for his free throw. And then he was making 10 out of 10, 100%. So the league was like, all right, we got to change it. You can't do the dunking thing. That's why you have to shoot the ball from the free throw line now, because of Will Chamberlain. They had to change the rules for this man. And if I just see all of these facts and these stories and these rule changes and the stats, dude, I feel like if this man played in today's era, he would be equally as great. Maybe not 100 points, maybe not 50 points every game, 25 rebounds every game, but I think this man could probably give you 35 and 15. 35 and 15 seems pretty reasonable. It's funny because a couple days ago, if you guys haven't seen the Pistons game, I forgot who they played. Maybe it was the Cavs. Blake Griffin had 51 points, I think, 50-something points. And everyone on social media was like, oh my gosh, like Blake Griffin, 51 points. Like, man, he's improved his game so much, you know, Hall of Famer worthy. Man, Blake Griffin is such a great player. Bro, this man did this every day. Every game he'd give you 50 points. And if you see that in that kind of perspective, it truly shows you how great Will Chamberlain is as a player. And Michael Jordan, obviously, great overall player, a true champion, a true winner, and someone I greatly respect. 6 rings, never lost, never took it to a game 7, took a 2-year break playing baseball, came back and got another 3-peat. I mean, that's basically impossible. But in terms of pure basketball player, who the best individual basketball player of all time, I truly think that Will Chamberlain can be put in the conversation. I mean, dude, this guy was not human. Like this is probably one of the greatest books I've read, and the greatest autobiography. So this is a book that was written by himself, and it just truly showed me a different side of things that I haven't really known about the man before. But yo, this guy may be the GOAT. It's very possible. Let me know what you guys think, because I wasn't even born in the 60s, but this man's pretty good.